All right, so I want to make this logo at the bottom a little more visible. So if I go up to layer and layer style, I'm going to put a drop shadow. You can see that it created a drop shadow along the entire square of where that original logo was. And I really want it around just the letters or the words. So I am going to apply my logo in a different way. I'm going to have to grab it in a different way. All right, so I am going to go back to my logo. And I'm just going to select the Children at Risk logo itself. So I'm going to do the color range, select the black, okay, and then I'm going to invert by clicking this logo down here. Now I can see it actually selected just my letters, but also everything around it because I had that marquee tool selected. So I'm going to go down to the masking tool in the bottom left, and I'm going to paint red over the rest of the page that I don't need selected. So I'm going to go to my paintbrush, make sure that it is quite large, and I can see I need to make sure that it's at 100% opacity. So here we go. We're going to paint over the entire thing, making sure that I do not paint over the Children at Risk logo that I actually need. All right, so once I have selected everything or painted over everything I don't need, click the clipping mask, just my letters are selected. So Control C and Control V onto this page. I'm going to drag that so it's a little bit smaller and place it right where I need it. There we go. Press a little bit up. Okay, press enter to solidify those changes. It's still a little challenging to read, so I'm going to make sure that my correct layer is selected. Go up to layer, new adjustment layer, or layer style here. Then we're going to play with some of our options here. I think if I make the drop shadow prevalent, it will help separate it from the background. So I'm going to use black because that's what used in the logo above us. And you can see that if I move some of these sliders around, it will change where my shadow is and how dark it is. Actually, we're at a screen blending up here, so I'm going to change it to normal. And now you can see how dark that shadow actually is. So now I can play with these sliders and see how blended it is, how displaced it is from the actual letters, and find something that looks like it's making it stand out. So I think this is helping it stand out from the background quite a bit, making it just a little bit easier to read. And once you find something that looks good, you're going to click OK in the top right corner. So I'm going to click OK. It could still use a little more contrast though, so we can do one of two things. So we can go to layer and let's see, new adjustment layer, brightness, contrast. So this is going to make an entirely new layer. I'm going to click OK, and then this little box that pops up, I can play with it. Now this is going to brighten the entire curtain or drapery section in the background. And although being lighter does make it slightly easier to read, the client liked the original one, so I'm going to try and keep this the same. Ultimately, I'm going to put it back to where it was. That is an option should you need it. But if we're not going to use that, I'm going to select my text layer, and I am going to go up to, not layer, but image. So then I go to my adjustments, and then from there, I'm going to select brightness and contrast. So the same kind of sliders, I'm going to take the brightness up, and you can see the at-risk word is getting brighter as I play with that slider. So I think that looks easier to read. I'm going to click OK, and that is just a little bit easier to read than the original was.